In this screencast, we'll cover Linux access permissions and then symbolic links. To start us off, let's look at the permissions for the contents of the camp directory. Run ls-l to see a long listing of ls, which includes permissions. Now that we can see the permissions, let's go over what we see and make some sense of it. The permissions come in three sets of 3 permissions, actually. The first set belongs to the user, and will later be referred to as U in the symbolic referencing of permissions. The second set is the group, and will later be referred to as G. And the last set is Other, and will later be referred to as O. Each set of permissions has 3 permissions assigned: read, which is represented by R, write, represented by W, and execute, represented by X. Here I'll highlight the user permissions in yellow, the group in green, and the other in red. Also important to this discussion is who owns the file and what group is assigned. In the ls-l output, the owner is listed here. Note that the owner is who is referred to as the user in permissions. The next listing is the group assigned. The owner I've highlighted in yellow and the group in green. To set or modify the permissions, we use the chmod utility. The chmod utility has 2 ways of setting permissions. The 2 ways are symbolically and numerically. First, we'll cover symbolic. You can refer to each of the 3 permission sets using the symbol we discussed earlier. The user is referenced by U, the group by G, and the other by O. You can then set permissions for these groups in 3 ways. Everything seems to go in threes here. You can add permissions using a plus sign, or subtract permissions using a minus sign, or you can set exactly the permissions you want with the equals. The situation will dictate which to use. Let's take a look at an example. Go inside the camper directory and ls-l to see the existing permissions. Now suppose we want to add the write permission for the group, but leave all other permissions alone for the file class 2016.1.txt. The addition of permissions is most appropriate here. Run chmod g plus w class.2016.1.txt, then ls-l to see the results. The group should now have write permissions. You can set the permissions for more than one set at a time. If we want to add permissions for one set and remove from another, we can do that. Just separate each set with a comma. Run chmod g-w, u plus x, space class.2016.1.txt. Make sure not to have any spaces in the permission sets or else you'll have an error, because a space in the command line is a separator between arguments. Setting exact permissions with the equal sign works in the same way. Here I set the user equal to rwx, the group I add a w, and the other subtract r. This command uses all 3 ways in one command. Maybe not the way you would normally use it, but it shows the interchangeability of the 3 types. Finally, run ls-l to check the output and make sure you got what you wanted. The user should have rw and x, the group should have added the w permission, and the other should no longer have the r. Next, we'll look at the numerical method of using chmod. Each permission has a value: r equals 4, write equals 2, and execute equals 1. You don't really have to memorize this, as it is in the man page for chmod. Take a look with man chmod. Here we see the values. Now press Q to quit the man page. To use these, we have to recall that there are 3 sets of permissions, one for the user, one for the group, and one for other. Take the point value for each permission assigned, and that is the value for the set of permissions. For example, if we have rwx, rw dash, r dash dash. For file, the user's value is rwx, which is the value 421, r being 4, w being 2, x being 1. Add those together, and the user's value is 7. The group is rw dash, and that value is 4, 2, and 0. Added together is 6. The other is r dash dash. That value is 4, 0, 0. Added together is 4. So if you put that all together, the set permissions for the file are 7, 6, 4. 7 is the total for the user, 6 is the total for the group, and 4 is the total for other. To put that into practice on file class.2016.2.txt with chmod, you would run chmod 764 on that file name, class.2016.2.txt. Then run ls-l to check. Your permissions should be correct. Next, let's look at how to change the owner of a file. Use the chown utility. To use it, specify the new owner, Jamie in this case, and then the file name like this, chown jamie class.2016.1.txt. You may need to try this out on a machine of your own because of the permission restrictions on our server. You can also change the group with chgrp with basically the same usage. chgrp admin class.2016.1.txt. You can use chown to do both by separating the user and group with a colon, like this. chown shamet staff class.2016.1.txt to change the user back to shamet and the group back to staff. You can change permissions and ownership of directories recursively by adding the -R option. For example, to change the entire campers directory to permissions of 7444, run chmod -R, capital R, 744 on that campers directory.